Hallo, ich heiße Shoggoth269 und willkommen zurück zu Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition. In dieser Episode, wir werden The Painted World of Ariamis abschließen. This is an interesting place for a lot of reasons. It's very well put together, I will say that. There's also some unique enemies here that don't show up anywhere else. So I guess it's the same with the entire game. There's pretty much every area has its unique enemies, but there's one in particular here that I really like, and I will make note of when we get there. So right here, I'm equipping the blooming purple musk clump because there are some enemies here who can inflict the toxic status, and I just want to be ready for that. So this guy up here with his arrows, he's being a pain. Now if you can't tell, the guys here hurt a lot more, even though they're just basic draglings or hollows or whatever. So this guy, I was afraid of these guys. This is why I'm throwing fireballs at them. They can inflict toxic, which I'll talk about a little more in a bit, but one way to take them out is if you burn them, you won't get toxic. So that's a safe way to go ahead and take them out, but you don't have unlimited pyromancy. So yeah, so I'm kind of pointing out that down there. That's actually the enemy that I was talking about. That's interesting, but we're obviously not down there yet, and I didn't even know this existed, so I had to check it out. I didn't think so, at least. It had been a while since I'd done this place. The painted world here is completely optional. So sometimes if I'm just trying to kind of get through the game, I don't worry too much about this place, or don't do it at all. It's not a bad place though, I do like it. I do like it. And I think I just saw an item on the rooftop there. I may be wrong. I don't remember if I go back to get it. So I will say this. It's been a couple of weeks since I've uploaded anything. And I do apologize for that. You know, this little thing called life gets in the way sometimes. And during that, some of the chances that I did have to actually record this commentary were taken up by computer difficulties and upgrades. I went ahead and got myself an SSD, reinstalled the OS. I had some trouble reinstalling the OS, so I went for a little while without a computer and just waited until the SSD came in and did a fresh install on the SSD itself. So I mean, there was time where I could have recorded, but you know, one issue or another prevented me, so finally I'm back to it. So if you've been hearing that awful noise, it's just these stupid albino rats. But anyways, I also apologize because since it's been 2 weeks or so since I recorded this footage, I don't remember exactly what happened, and when it happened, how it happened, etc. So some of the commentary here may seem a bit disjointed. Hence why I'm taking the excuse here to just ramble on and not commentate as much on the actual footage. But anyways, oh yeah, it just barely misses me. So we have a lot more of those toxic guys coming up in here, and some of them do shoot fire from afar like that. So I'm just getting hit from every direction at that point. Decided to back out. And once again, I do that to prevent being toxic. Toxic. I like it. I like it. Yeah, that guy's really getting on my nerves at this point, so let's go out there to take him out. And see, I didn't even remember about these guys. I mean, right here, I think I'm debating which way I want to go, because as you see, there's an item down there. I'm trying to figure out if there's a good way to get to it. there's a lot of verticality to this map, to this area. And it's really concise. I may have mentioned that already. This place was actually I guess you could say a prototype or kind of a test area. It's one of, if not the first places that was actually completed for this game. Yeah, I got really lucky on that. The way I understand it, it was kind of some, I guess, the area that they pitched to say, okay, are we gonna make this game or not? Here's what we have. And so there's a few references to Demon's Souls thrown in here, and there's also some unused stuff that doesn't really show up, but if you open it up in a map editor of sorts, you'll be able to see it. You just jump across there, and I believe there's another way to get over here as well, which I will demonstrate in a bit. Yeah, because this was one of the first areas done, it's also one of the more complete feeling areas for a lot of reasons. But it is interesting for anyone who has played Demon's Souls. I mean, even right now, I'm actually getting kind of a reminiscent feel of Demon's Souls. And I couldn't quite see the chain there, so I decided to be safe. The painting guardian stuff. Pretty basic. This place is not terribly difficult, but the guys here are a lot tougher. Even the basic guys, they're a lot tougher than what you're used to. And with it being an optional area, they do get away with a little more difficulty in some regards. The egg vermifuge, which I have never actually used before. I know one use for it, there might be others. So right here I'm debating which way I want to go. There's a few options here. Alright, can't get over there, so might as well not waste time. I figure, why not just take this way first, you know, drop down and get all the stuff over here. Because then I can get back to this point and then move forward, instead of having to backtrack more. And as you can tell, I'm completely befuddled, completely lost. And I was actually going to try and jump over that gap, and as you can see, I messed up. Very much so. And I've got to go back up here. So that's another way to get to this ladder. So if for some reason you can't make that little jump that I made up here in these rafters or whatever you would call it, you can just take that drop. So here we go for round 2. And if I remember right, I barely make this. Yeah, because I did a roll instead of a jump by accident. You could still hear the good old rats. And I think I noticed something right there. I just noticed it on... yeah. There's actually something hanging out here, and you can do that to knock it down. And it's going to be down there for later. So it's kind of fortunate that I had to take that path so many times. Once again, debating which path to take. I'm looking at something in the distance there, which you might be able to see. I'm going to ignore it for now, but it will be addressed later. These little guys, these guys are weird. They don't pose too much of a threat for my lightning reinforced club, but they're still weird. I don't like them. We have a locked door, but we're already at the boss fog, which this place is kind of short. And by that I mean we are not at the boss at all. No, this is the guy I was talking about earlier. It's basically Phalanx from Demon Souls, which was the first boss. It was just a bunch of these guys surrounding a really big one, which I thought was interesting, and turns out that Great Chaos Fireball does a lot of damage on these guys. But yeah, there's so many of them, and they'll shoot the spears at you like that they can do some damage if you're not careful. Look at that ugly thing. Yeah, I'm just being really generous with the Estus Flask because I don't want to get killed and have to go through all that again to get back to this point. It's not a whole lot when you consider I've already done all the item collecting. It'd just be a straight shot. Oh, I love the crows and ravens. The corvid. And that item we knocked down earlier was that humanity. And a ring of sacrifice there. I think we're still pretty low on humanity after giving it all away to get this dark set. So I almost went up the stairs there and I used my better judgment. And yeah, that's because, as the message alludes to, there's a shortcut here, which this actually leads back to the very beginning of the Painted World, which you may recognize this now. So, just want to open that up before I do something stupid and get myself killed. But now, I start to go out here and I realize it's a waste of time for now. Stupid benches. Yes, it is locked. We'll be able to get in there soon enough. That is actually an optional area here in the Painted World. But you might as well loot it. That's how games work, right? So, come in here, and I couldn't even remember what was over here. So this is kind of me exploring for myself. And I had a pretty good idea of what was down there, so I decided to stay away from that. I wasn't 100% sure, but yeah, gets me with the invincibility frames. Because that should have hit him like that. But at least that I have poise, you know, I didn't get staggered by that last hit. Now we can knock this item down. Now if you have a bow, presumably I guess you could do it with sorcery or pyromancy if you aimed it right. But if you have a bow, you can actually shoot those ropes and knock those bodies down. You don't have to get up there and hit them like I did. But that is the guaranteed way. I mean, not everybody's going to have a bow. So they put a way for you to get there without ranged attacks. Now this place is dangerous. Yes, bone wheel skeletons. So basically I wait so I can block through his roll and then hit him after the roll. And they don't take much, but unless you have really good timing, good enough to hit them right as they get to you in mid-roll. Unless you're good enough to do that, you might as well just block it or somehow avoid it. Because you'll die otherwise. Probably. I know there's another one somewhere, so... There's a lot of hidden walls in here too. I don't know if these guys can break through hidden walls, but... the idea of that happening is terrifying to me. So as we have the annex key, but we're actually down here for something else. And I'm rolling against the walls here. Because, like I said, there are some hidden walls, and here's the one I'm looking for. So we break it, look at that, we got some more bone wheels. And I went for the death option. Yes. Yes, indeed. As I said, those guys are not fun. They hurt. So, that's why I wanted to open up the shortcut. In case something like that happened, I wouldn't have to go back through the majority of the area. And the item I knocked down earlier is another humanity. So as you see, the Phalanx is back, and I don't care to fight all those dudes. So I'll just come back over here and start going through, working my way through the bone wheels once again. And if you're blocking like that, they can kind of just go all the way through you. I'm surprised that didn't hurt me more than it did. Once again, break through the walls. Got a better idea of where they're at. There's my blood stain. I think that was a point where I was thinking, oh, I wonder how this will work. Not very well. I mean, it was nice that that guy rolled through it, but... it wasn't worth it. Getting myself basically killed again. It's not like it would have mattered, because I got all my stuff back. But I really did want all those souls. I am going to be using them, of course. I seem to recall that the last thing I was doing was working on a couple skills to use a different weapon. At least that's how I remember it. Alright. Yeah, just getting ambushed by bone wheels here. I didn't realize that there were so many in this big chamber. And luckily I get one of their shields, and apparently I really did get it because it's stuck to me now. Yeah, imagine if the game actually showed every item you're carrying like that. Yeah. You'll notice I have that tendency to run the couple circles over a dead enemy. It's not to play around with the physics. It's just to give it a second, because usually items don't appear immediately, and I don't want to run away and miss an item, so I just hang around for a second. Usually I'm tapping the A button as I do that, just to pick the item up automatically. So, yes, the reason I didn't come down that ladder earlier, the one you're about to recognize, I hope, is because I was afraid that it led to that chamber down there, and I, again, didn't want to deal with all those guys, particularly from that angle. because there's less cover than being able to come in through the tunnels. The Phalanx is still hanging out here. I decided I'm gonna take some of them out or just play around with them. But it's these guys, when they're spread out like that, you can't really kill them in groups like I did a few minutes ago. See, and that guy only took 58 damage. Yeah, he didn't even die. No, one of the reasons I'm sticking with Pyromancy though is because in Demon's Souls, the actual Phalanx boss, fire was a huge weakness. If you put turpentine on your weapon, you would just melt through the guys. They didn't stand a chance. So do my usual equipment repairs, and I'm checking these stats here on the Black Knight sword. Need 20 strength and 18 dexterity. Notice I go for the dexterity first because when you two-hand a weapon, it gives you half of your strength. So if you have 10 strength, two-handing it adds half of that. So it would be effectively like having 15 strength. You know, if you've got 20, it would add 10 when you two-hand. So it'd be like having 30. So I've got enough that if I two-handed it, I would meet the strength requirements. So I'd rather get my dexterity up first. Now I've got a plan here with the humanity, so I'm going to pop a few. That way I can work on the bonfire as well. But I do want to be human. Yeah, I figure I might as well go ahead and kindle this while I'm here. You know, say summon sign up there. And that way, in case anything goes wrong, I have a bunch of extra Estus to play with. I can't talk tonight. It's been a really long week for me. And it didn't end as well as it could have. It ended with me being decimated by a physics exam. So, have some sympathy, if you will. So anyways, yeah, having a bunch of Estus makes the game a lot easier, just because you can afford to make a lot more mistakes. I mean, you'll notice, for the most part, I don't do a lot of kindling. At least, even like in the earlier parts of the game, where it would have helped more. A lot of players like to just bum rush Pinwheel to get the right of kindling at the beginning of the game, and go through the game with, you know, kindling everything up to 20. I don't tend to do that, but it makes it a lot easier. So yes, King Jeremiah has invaded. That's why I wanted to be human. And I realized I didn't remember at all how this guy worked. I didn't know how dangerous he would be. I didn't want to die. So yeah, he's doing stuff like that. That always bothers me. I don't want to get caught in that. But I realize I have to make a decision soon. Take a little bit of damage, but find out that he's actually really weak because he has no poise. Goodbye, Jeremiah. You will not be missed. So in all honesty, there's only a little bit more that needs to be done here. Yeah, I decided this time it would be worth taking some of these guys out. Get the extra souls. I mean, they're worth a decent amount of souls, but again, when they're grouped together like that, you can take out a few at a time. It's worth it. Notice, that's also why I just ran away right there, because it wasn't worth messing around anymore. You know, it's how much time am I going to put into it versus what am I going to get out of it, right? So here we are, more souls again. We can get a few levels out of this. Might as well use that humanity if I can. Before I die. Usual repairs. Once again, got the dexterity requirement, now working for the one-hand strength requirement. So yeah, now we do meet the two-hand requirement. So it's finally time to check this bad boy out. Yeah, hold with both hands to wield effectively. As you'll see, it's pretty slow. It is considered a great sword. I think I wanted to test out the one hand. No, okay, there we go. That's the strong attack, of course. It's not bad. It's not a bad weapon, but it's a bit slow for my taste right now. I'd rather wait until I can meet the one-hand requirement. I'm looking at damage versus time here. Stupid bench. Ever get that feeling of deja vu? So here we have the NX key that I picked up down in the well with the bone wheels. And this is an optional area of the painted world. So if you don't want to do this, you don't have to. And we got everybody's favorite, the toxic guys over here. And I figured I might as well wait for him to get over here so he doesn't ambush me. So I'm afraid because you hit them like that, if you're too close when they die, you'll get toxic. You notice it's like, had all that stuff gushing out of him. So yeah, it's basically like that. You get almost no warning. You gotta be right at the edge of your reach to not get toxic. Luckily, I was able to cure it rather quickly, and I learned my lesson. Got just, what, one more down there, maybe two? Yeah, just one more. Give him a taste of his own medicine, and you get the Dark Ember, which... Yes, I'm going to show the description for this one, if I can find it. Oh yeah, that guy shows up. What a troll. Alright, so somewhere here we have the Dark Ember. Blacksmith weapon ascension. Required the church long hid the forbidden black ember and no living blacksmith knows of it. Ascends +5 divine weapon to occult weapon. Occult weapons were used to hunt gods and other things that I couldn't read. Honestly, I've never messed with that. I mean, I feel like I've been over this time and time again. Yeah, I never messed with that because I tend to just go with the normal upgrades. You're gonna hear that from me, that's just how I am. So I'm waiting because I know I'm gonna get ambushed here. So I figure I'll just go in and start swinging. These guys, I don't really know how damaging they are, but... And look, that guy grabs me. And I think I'm dead, you know. I got lucky that I made it through that. That's why I was willing to take some hits there to trade hits while I'm drinking Estus. I figured it was the best way to stay alive. Miracle Vow of Silence. Velka, the goddess of sin, is a rogue deity, but she is versed in arts both new and old, and is considered to have a great range of influence even as gods are concerned. The secret rite of the black-haired witch Velka prevents casting of magic within effect area. Notice I read the more interesting part of the description first, in case I once again didn't leave myself enough time to read it. So finally, that equipment over here is the Mask of Velka and all the black cleric stuff. So there's only a little bit more we can do while we're over here. That is to come back down here. Velka's Rapier. That is, of course, the item I was checking out earlier, and the guy that was shooting at me earlier on in the video is still trying to pester me. That meanie. I don't like him. So it's time to head over this way now. We're gonna go up. There's not a lot of reason you would want to go up here, but I'm going to do it. Yeah, just hit that guy and he'll fall, or... Oh, I think he jumps off. Yeah, in my case he jumps off. And it seems like he... Okay, I think he died. Because at first he landed on the next spot, but then I think he actually died when he jumped off of it. The Red Sign Soapstone. And that's an interesting item. I believe I do load the description, but not yet. So I'll wait a minute to explain it. Looks like we're walking on... Oh, I thought we were walking on bones. Just bricks. And you just drop down onto these ledges or the stairs. Yeah, I just didn't want to get ambushed by one of the crow dudes. And I've apparently walked past this item multiple times now, so... I didn't even know it was there, so... There you are. There you have it. Am I ever gonna take that guy out? Nope. I let him hit me. Like a dummy. So yeah, I realize at this point that I'm running out of options. There's only a couple things left to do, and I know that. And so earlier, when I hit that switch or whatever, down there in the well area with the bone wheels, it actually opened that door that I was just at. That does lead to the boss. And this is about the only thing I can think of that remains before the boss. And of course this is like so many other things, this bit is completely optional. But it is an undead dragon, and I didn't know how to deal with him. I was afraid I was going to get toxic, but it worked out. I didn't know how to deal with this guy because I typically ignore him. I don't even remember what items he's guarding, even though I just picked one of them up. So I'm trying to figure out... I'm like, okay, he's gonna breathe over there, and he has a long window, so I'm just gonna wail on him. And it works out better than I expected. But, there's a problem. So I'm alright. I managed to heal, and that happens. Now notice, I tried to do a save and quit right there, and it would have worked, but I don't want to do that for the purpose of this series. But yeah, I was going to do a save and quit to prevent myself from dying, or say quit and load, whatever you want to call it. But fortunately, there's not really much standing in the way of getting back over there. Just do that, run past Phalanx, get in here, and just go up like one flight, and you're good to go. But that last run did serve to teach me a bit of his strategy, how you could bait him into attacking. And I decided to be a little stupid here and rush that. But it turns out it worked alright. But anyways, yeah, the last run did serve as enough of a learning experience for me to properly take him out this time. So first we're going to check out the blood shield. Doesn't look all that good. And spoken of in the Lost Legends, the red of blood is slightly enchanted and boosts various resistances. Sure. So now I'm curious how pyromancy works. So we bait him into that. Now I'll bait him into attacking over here on the side. And use that as an opportunity to hit him right where it hurts. So pyromancy does seem to do some reasonable damage. And I was shocked that he hit the side again for some reason. And if it's not apparent, this is the point where I got tired of pyromancy. It's like, alright, last shot. Bait him into it, get up here and try and finish him off. And I don't know why I risked it by staying up here after what happened last time, but as you'll see, it works out this time. So an interesting thing about this guy, what is it? Dragon scale. Okay, that's right, that's right. I think it's a glitch. I have no idea, but he actually leaves his butt. This is his butt. See, it's still moving. You can hit it like this all day, nothing happens. So yeah, there's that. Anyways, let us keep going. As I said, I don't think there's really anything else to do here, not off the top of my head. So let's make our way down here to the boss. So this is basically the lower half, the lower part of the bridge where we just fought the undead dragon. Right here I'm actually looking for something specific, which I will point out in a minute. That being one of them. I remembered there is a trap that is set up so you will walk past an enemy and then be attacked. So I'm actually looking back for that, and here's where it's at. As you see, there's quite a few of them, too. You know, it's a good double hit on those guys. You gotta like a double hit, right? Here we are, got a Tower Knight, a Knight's Baronique. Berenike. And he packs a bit of a punch, or slice, swing. But yeah, he's all in all not that bad. A large Titanite shard, never something to complain about. I'd prefer slabs, to be fair, but whatever. Still thinking there's gonna be an ambush. So here we are at the boss fog.
Who art thou? One of us thou art not. If thou hast misstepped into this world, plunge down from the plank and hurry home. If thou seekest I, thine desires shall be requited not. Thou must returneth whence thou came. This land is peaceful, its inhabitants kind, but thou dost not belong. I beg of thee, plunge down from the plank and hurry home.
Alright, so we are back in Anor Londo. That is how you exit the painted world of Ariamis, and that is the only way to exit. Now, maybe a homeward bone or something would work to get you to your last bonfire, but I could be wrong. Anyways, that's how you exit. You do not have to fight Priscilla, that is the boss. She is optional, like so many other things there. And I have no reason to fight her, so as you see, I just left her. I can't guarantee that I will ever fight her. I don't tend to. You can make a weapon if you cut her tail off, or something, I don't know. See, it's a scythe that I think it drains health from enemies, gives it to you, you become a leech. And that guy's gone. So yeah, like I said, we're back here in Anor Londo. A bit anticlimactic, I know, but to the best of my knowledge, unless you count actually defeating Priscilla, there's nothing else to do at all until the boss fight here in Anor Londo has been taken care of. And I do say to the best of my knowledge, because at the time of recording, I was pretty sure that was it. But especially right now, having been like 2 weeks, and this being the end of such a long, frustrating, tiresome week, definitely right now, that's to the best of my knowledge. I must also make another statement, if you will. I think I'm going to try something different. Well, I am going to be trying something different in the upload settings, because I'm now using a different version of Adobe Premiere, and so all my old presets are gone. And on top of that, you know, I don't I don't really know what I had going before. So I'm sure I could work something out that'd be pretty similar. But instead of bothering with all that, I'm just going to use one of the presets. So I do apologize if the quality is not as good as it may have been in previous episodes. If there is a noticeable problem on my end, I will fix it for the next episode, which has not yet been recorded at all. Yes, summoned to another world as a dark spirit, defeat the summoner to acquire humanity. Certain dark wraiths resist their descent into the dark and persevere along the honorable path. The red sign soapstone is for them. So what that is yeah, it's basically what it says. You put your sign down, someone sees a red summon sign, and they summon you, and you're in PvP mode, but it's kind of an honorable PvP. It's not a regular invasion. I figure I might as well pop some souls here, and as you can see, I'm getting a good amount from this. I think I end up with an extra 30 something? Maybe 40. Yeah, it's gonna be what, 42? No, 41. It's hard to complain. Now look at that. I happen to meet all the requirements for the weapon now. Notice I unequip it, but I immediately re-equip it because I just want to see a comparison between the damage of the two. And notice this one is 220 plus 56. So we're going from what, 457 to see what we have is 228, 228. And at this point, I'm a bit dissatisfied with it. It's not as good as I was hoping it was going to be. Yeah, I mean, this whole episode has been anticlimactic, eh? If only there was something I could do to make up for it. Come on, buddy. There we are. I'm gonna try my hand at killing him. As you can see, it works very well. I don't know why I insisted on that. It was a waste of time and effort. I think I do know why, actually. I wanted the extra tidbit of souls. See, if you do it right, it kills him in one toss, but I obviously didn't do it right the first time. Anyways, if you recall from one of the previous episodes, I discovered just how easy these guys were to fight. Apparently I forgot everything I learned. Until now. I finally remembered just the right way to do it. Let's see if I can redeem myself on this guy. Certainly looking a lot better, eh? You mainly got to get past that first attack to get him into kind of a rhythm.
Hello, forge I can, strong I am.
I love it when he says that. Strong I am. Oh. Let's do this. See, I don't have any Twinkling Titanite. Get as much as I can. Reinforce. Trying to figure out what I want to do here. I'm in such a weird position right now. What needs to be raised, what doesn't. And there we have it.
Comment soon.
That was a tough call on my part. I need the defense, but I want the extra attack as well. It's tough. It's a tough compromise. Someone's got to make it. Someone's got to do it. So you probably recognize this path well enough, because I know I've been on it a few times. Just to go ahead and be safe, gotta head back over here to the good old bonfire. So yeah, that took 3 hits. Now we could try it out with the... Notice I take the longest possible way I can get. I could try it out here and see how many hits it takes. And I decided, almost went for that guy. I said, why fight more guys than I need to? Risk dying over something stupid. So this one also took 3 hits, but I believe it did more damage. Because we're not really going to get any more damage out of the... Hey, get offline, dude. We're not really going to get any more damage out of the lightning reinforced club. Not for much longer, at least. So anyways, I've got that little bit of humanity here. And I figure I'm going to need all the Estus that I can get. So, might as well kindle this bonfire. I don't like being human here. It never feels safe. But it's a risk I'm going to have to take this time. And with that said, we are going to have to call it quits here. And I'll see you next time when we actually take on the boss here in Anor Londo. So until then, take care.